This video will attempt to speculate the identity of Vanari, a mysterious character that was introduced to us in Book 2 of Dragon's Blood. She has appeared in only 3 episodes so far, these being chapters 1, 2, and 5. That being said, let's begin with what we know about her. Just to introduce this character, Vanari is said to be a cold and calculating bounty hunter with a dark sense of humor. Like all bounty hunters, she will accept any task as long as it will pay her a good amount of money. These are just her characteristics on a superficial level. What we don't know much about her is her strange abilities and her true nature beyond her shady occupation. Vanari wields a strange modular bow with unique characteristics. This bow is unique because it doesn't work like a normal bow. It needs no ammunition to be loaded into so that it can be fired, but instead, it fires a golden arrow that materializes on its red energy bowstring once it is drawn. This arrow can quickly transmute its victims upon contact, turning them into lifeless golden statues. This bow is modular because it has 2 modes, its standard mode and its blade mode. In close quarters, Vanari can quickly fold the bow into a blade, which allowed her to fight against Luna. What's even more enigmatic about her is her ability to turn invisible. Nothing special about it from other kinds of invisibility that we've seen, like the ones in Dota 2. This ability wasn't expanded on in all of Vanari's appearances, so we're left in the dark about what this ability has to do with her. Most inscrutable of all is her grotesque face. She can open it up like those aliens from the film A Quiet Place, into a visage that looks somewhat akin to the old version of Venomancer. Her lower jaw separates into 2 jaws akin to a snake's skull. She also has a long tongue that resembles a worm with teeth, like the graboids or Mongolian death worm. Also, her hair seems to flare up when she does this. That being said, let me start speculating on what she's all about. Let's start with the race or species of Vanari. My speculation is that she may have something to do with both dragons and the moon goddess Mene. This seems like a stretch, but I have evidence for it. It's only up to you viewers to agree or disagree. I believe that she may be some draconic being because of how her body looks like. Her face looks awfully similar to Davion when he begins to transform into Slyrak. This doesn't explain the gill-like parts of her body though, but nevertheless, her face when it isn't transformed looks a lot like Slyvion when he begins to show up. Also, her legs resemble that of most dragons in this series, which in turn is mostly inspired by birds, dinosaurs, and other animals with these kinds of legs where they're actually standing on their toes, with their heels permanently elevated. That aside, this may be further proof for her draconic features, and this might mean that Vanari is a member of Dragon Clan, like Lina and Rylai. Speaking of her gills, these parts of her body seem to glow blue when she turns invisible. This was only shown in the last time she makes an appearance, where she goes invisible to escape the fire explosion sent by Lina. I think that these blue glowing gills imply that she's some sort of dragonoid from the Ionic species. With these blue gills, she has a very similar color scheme to Indrak and his Ionic dragons. She has these blue gills that could possibly be these blue protuberances. Her pale grey skin might be the ventral side of the Ionic dragons, which is lighter in color to their dark grey dorsal side, which is best seen on her face, akin to Davion's that I showed earlier. Her eyes are also reminiscent of what an Ionic dragon looks like, because Ionic dragons have black eyes with orange irises and black slit pupils. Lastly, let's talk about her ability to turn invisible. With the speculation that I said earlier, this might be an ability inherited from an ionic dragon. Supporting this is one of the writer's tweets saying that Indrak has control over light itself. If he could control light itself, then he may have the ability to manipulate the visible light spectrum to turn himself invisible, just like Phantom Lancer's old doppelganger spell. That being said, Vanari may be an ionic dragon indeed, and thus a member of Dragon Clan, although she doesn't seem to know or acknowledge it. There's one last detail that I'd like to point out. This detail is the sound that she makes when she enters invisibility. Have a listen. This ability sounds quite similar to some depictions of Fimrin's abilities. Perhaps this implies that Vanari's powers are also from the moon goddess Mene, whom Fimrin inherited her abilities from instead of the Ionic dragons. But it might just be a coincidence, although it is possible that Vanari could have a mix of both an Ionic dragon's powers and the lunar goddess powers, which makes for some interesting lore potential. As for her modular bow that shoots transmuting arrows, I am not sure what her bow is all about. Perhaps it has something to do with luminous dragons, because they are both golden. But that's weak speculation, because I have no evidence besides the similarity that I mentioned. Also, Orak and the luminous dragon's powers aren't heavily expanded on, only appearing as Ritterfau's equipment and Davion's bracer blade. So far, their only ability is to glow with bright light, which is pretty boring compared to other dragons. And because of this lack of lore and story presence, I have little evidence to draw upon them to speculate about anything that might be related to luminous dragons. Also, I have no speculation on where Vanari's ability to open up her face comes from. I have never seen anything or anyone in Dragon's Blood that seems to have a snake's lower jaws and a weird tongue that looks like a worm with teeth. My speculation on her being an Ionic dragon doesn't actually explain anything about her terrifying face. But just because I can't explain why she has these features, it doesn't mean that it invalidates all of what I've said. Perhaps this is a new and unique feature that I have yet to expand on later in this series. Or perhaps this is a hybrid feature from another creature that we have yet to see. I think that my speculation of Vanari possibly being an Ionic Dragonoid would make sense, because Book 2 is almost all about dragons. From the first to the last episode, there has never been an absence of dragons, thanks to the characters introduced here. Book 1 was more about the elves, since it centered around Fimrin's task of restoring the lotuses, with dragons being away from the spotlight, but not far enough for them to be unseen completely. Book 2 was all about revelations of certain characters being related to dragons, from Lena and Riley with their relationship to the clan of dragons, the introduction of Dragonites beyond the 3 knights that we already know, to Marana, Marcy, and Kashura being related to cosmic dragons. Vanari could be a part of this dragon revelation as well, even if she is just a small part. That's all for this video. I'll see you all in the next one.